of the payout. What does that look like? Just to give you updates there, you're talking about $1.2 million payout in terms of the bowls that go to the conference. A percentage of that goes to the institution, depending on the split, 75-25 for the SWAC, 70-30 in terms of the MEAC, or that was the last percentage breakdown in terms of what that looks like. But I want to do a little comparison so you get a chance of what does that look like. Obviously, you have the major bowls, and you've seen what they do as they off the chart in terms of the New Year's Six, $14 million, significant type of money. But you see how long they've been in the business for the Rose Bowl, going back 100 years in terms of what they do there and how they're tied into the CFP and how they have really engulfed all that money. But if you look at some of the other bowls out there, there was an article that talked about the Quick Lane Bowl, really focusing on New Mexico State, which it was encouraging fans to purchase tickets. And it wasn't so much about purchasing tickets. Obviously, you want to support your team. But a lot of it would maybe be at the distance that a lot of fans wouldn't necessarily travel for a 6-6 Aggies team that was playing a 6-6 Bowling Green Falcons team, if you would, coming out of the MAC all the way in Detroit. So they were asking fans to support the team that did make a bowl and purchase tickets so they could donate them to Detroit area youth. That's a great thing for the youth to get a chance to get out and see some college football. But I wanted to get into some of the money. When you talk about this particular matchup, when you see what was going on here, three things to know about the Bowling Green as they entering into at that time the Quick Lane Bowl, which was this past week, if you would, a week ago, I should say. The university closed travel cost them $400,000 travel to Detroit. When you talk about the Celebration Bowl, one thing is unique. You heard last year they got the deal with Delta, actually flew the teams in there to Atlanta, and that was at no cost to the teams. So you didn't have to worry about that type of cost where you see it doing $400K for Detroit. And so some interesting things there when you think about it. But this is really, it was interesting when I seen this, when you talk about these payouts. Because a lot of folks talk about $1 million, $2, $3 million payouts for these bowls. One thing people don't realize, a lot of times these bowls, a bigger number in there, but they'll charge you, as you see, for your travel, your hotel stay, food and things of that nature while you in there. They'll also charge you for the band in terms of the band and who you bring in there. They'll charge you a ticket price for the band members in the stand. And so the payout for the Quick Lane Bowl was $150K. Yeah, let me say that again. The payout for that bowl game was $150K, and which is why you see the fact that they were encouraging the fans to buy tickets, because this is where it can get a little benefit to the team. New Mexico State athletic director was quoted saying that the university will retain 100% of the revenue from the first 2,000 tickets it sells, 50% of the next 2,000 tickets, which by New Mexico wants its fan base to purchase all of these tickets, because if they did, they could recoup $420K in terms of what that means. So just to give you some indication.
Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU, and man, I hope my team they won. Yeah. I hope my team they won. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won. I hope my team they won. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Mike Washington is out on assignment. So we have the assistant professor, A.D. Drew, in the building. We have some interviews stored up for you today. We're going to see if we can get into some of these rivalries that we told you about baseball. We'll get an update on the SIC. It's basically two teams that you want to look for at the top in terms of HBCU programs. Spring Hill is doing their thing as well, trying to push the button, but we'll let you know. Make sure that Professor Drew gives you an update in the show in terms of what's going on there. But with that being said, welcome to episode 378 inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast. The show that's covering the sporting HBCU diaspora for all things HBCU sports. From institutions large and small, from the NEIA to the NCAA, we share insights on the information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs in the business of HBCU sports. We simply call it HBCU sports pedagogy. I'm your host, Dr. Kenny Cavil, along with my co-host, Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. As I said, we have AD Drew bringing up the bat. Bases loaded, Drew. You ready? Filming from our home studios, sending a signal live to Caseway Short 30 in studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Fame. That's multi-Hall of Famer Ralph Cooper, home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. Speaking of home of Texas Southern University, a lot's going on. Charles was in the building, getting around. You know, Professor, this is what happened. You kind of get to sneak around. He saw some practice. As HBC All-Star weekend festivities really have started. The game's obviously on Sunday, but you have the team here. They had great open, as you've seen, buildings. If you're following, you've seen them getting off the bus. You've seen the buses coming up to H&P Arena. A lot of traffic, practice time. And, oh, by the way, we have Florida Atlanta University also doing their practice time over here as they get ready for the Final Four. So how about that? It's funny because a lot of folks get excited. I was like, yeah, I remember they did that a while back. It was over here for one of those Final Fours, and they literally like shut down the building. Other than if you were a professor, it was kind of hard to keep you out there. But they had dark wings in there, making sure nobody tape practice. It was wild. I was like, man, they this big on all this. And I think who was Gonzaga also came over at that time. That was at Final Four with Duke and Gonzaga. Couple other things, two of them practice over here. So it's wild. It's cool to be in front of that, Charles. With that being said, how did you feel being in the mix?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Got a chance to talk to Coach Dante Jackson, Gramblin's head basketball coach. I think he's coaching one of the teams. And, of course, Coach Kenny Blakely. He's coaching another one of the teams. So I got an opportunity with a scrimmage this morning. Got an opportunity. They were running some drills. And
did you call a play? Did you call a play? That's all I want.
Coach Jackson always lets me call one play. So I called a high screen and roll. You know, I wanted to get somebody to roll into the bucket. So I did get a chance to get one play.
Did it work? Did it work?
Of course. All
yeah, he was trying to hire you for the staff now. Drew knows a little bit about that. He has a little coaching bug that he's done before at that level. So with that being said, let me go to you, Charles, or stick with you, I should say, Charles. What's some news that you want to get out on the day that has you excited about this week beyond Texas Southern and the HBC All-Star game?
No doubt. Well, we'll stay with that because Howard University's coach Kenny Blakeney, he wins the John McClendon Award, which is an award. He's recipient of the 2023 John McClendon Award, which is presented annually to the top collegiate head coach, and that includes Division I, Division II, Division III NAIA, and of course junior college ranks. Of course, Blakeney led Howard to an historic season. Howard won 22 games and captured both the regular season MEAC championship as well as the postseason tournament championship. It was the first appearance for Howard in the MEAC championship game in 21 years and his first trip to the NCAA tournament since 1992, Dr. Bill. So huge award for Coach Kenny Blakeney.
Man, how about that? Let me give a shout out from some of our lab listeners. Chuck Hunt is in the building. Jazzy Faye is always making sure it catches us. Silas Edward McMorris. Edwin D. Moore says, good evening, Dean and Professor, Bishop, and Drew. Philip R. King is in here getting it done, checking us out. Ricky Burton, for those that know Philip King, you know, he's a graduate student assistant of mine. So I guess he's sneaking in here and checking it out, the video. He said he would, puts in their work. He's over there in the School of Communication working on his master's as he continues to bounce around and get things done. Silas Edward McMorris is in here representing Prairie View. Ricky Burke, Karen Griffin, G. Boom Holly, Mr. Cameraman is the kind. I wonder they call him Cameraman Lovely anymore. Brandon King, getting it done so much. Too much going on in Houston this weekend. McDonald's All-American game here, saw all that. We got a chance. And man, it's really nice because some people will tell you these events and ask you to come by here, but they got events for Dr. Kevin Granger as he's on a host of an event Friday night as he's getting things out there. So interesting. Yes, I will be going to the Final Four. I have my media credentials for those that just wanted to ask. I did what I needed to do, put my stuff in there, and it's been approved. With that being said, 80 Drew, what's on your mind in regards to HBCU sports?
Well, a couple weeks ago, we were talking about HBCU coaches need to get their hustle on to get opportunities for power conference jobs. Well, unfortunately for Charles, looks like one of his favorite coaches may have gotten their hustle on and is a leading candidate for a job. That being Coach Tamika Reed, one of the leading candidates for the job at the University of Memphis. Of course, it's not the first time that we've heard Tamika Reed's name thrown about for the Power Conference jobs. But according to Tim Lowry of Tennessee Report, Reed is among the list of candidates for the recent opening after Katrina Merriweather resigned and was later hired by Cincinnati. Reed is on a list with Alex Simmons of Gardner-Webb, Lauren Sumsky of Lipscomb, Nina Davis of Middle Tennessee State, and Sharika Wright of UT Arlington. And we all know what Coach Reed's resume includes: 4 consecutive SWAC regular season championships and 2 conference titles. So good luck for Coach Reed. We would hate to lose a Coach Reed amongst the HBCUs, but at the same time, we do not want to stand in anybody's way and their opportunity. And I think Memphis is a good type of job for her. It's not a Big Ten. It's not an SEC conference, I believe they're still in Conference USA, or they in the AAC now. They moved around conferences.
The AAC, yeah.
They're the AAC. They moved around conferences so many times, I lose. but it's a upper mid-major type conference. It gives her a good name, but it's not the elite of the elite with that added pressure. So I think this is a good job, and I know when she gets to Memphis, she'll do a good job. And Memphis, for those who've not been to the University of Memphis has a lot of HBCU vibes, so I believe she'll be comfortable with that setting there at University of Memphis. But I know Charles is definitely waiting to chime in on that as one of his favorite coaches may be on the move.
No, I'm extremely excited for Coach Reed in terms of her getting her just due and definitely being a finalist for this job. I couldn't be more excited for her. She is definitely, I think, one of the top coaches in the nation. So to get an opportunity to coach on a different level, to coach University of Memphis, it speaks volumes about her coaching ability, her coaching acumen, and her ability to recruit. So for her to be in this finalist group, man, I'm really excited for her. I really hope that she's able to cash in on it.
Good stuff, Charles. I know you're not a lawyer. Some would swear that you're probably negotiating the contract.
She has proven her mettle. She has proven her mettle in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. So
no doubt.
I wish nothing but great things for her.
With that being said, no doubt, and I think both of you have said this perfectly. That coach would be, you'd hate to lose her in terms of the SWAC HBCUs, but she's put in the yeoman work, and if opportunities come, you don't want to be in a position where you don't want to suggest that somebody should have an opportunity and do whatever they think is best for them in the next step of life. Not to say that one space is big, better, or whatever. than another. We certainly understand what this could mean financially.
Yes, definitely financially rewarding.
Exactly. With that being said, let's go to our first break. We'll come back on the other side. I think we can get into our first interview. With that, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
Press the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna love, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. We have none other than Prairie View A&M University head baseball coach, Coach Riggins. Coach Riggins, how you doing today?
I'm doing fine, man. How you guys doing?
Man, we're excited. We're excited. We have baseball season in there. We got opening day for Major League Baseball. College baseball, Division I, HBCUs has been in it for a while. As well as this is the third week going into the SWAC. We've been all in it. We don't wait too late to get it going. Let me open it up. You know, Black College Nine had you at #1 ranked team in the country. I know that can be a blessing and a curse in regards the attention that you deserve for getting that ranking. But at the same time, you know, young people have a thing about how the heads get. Tell me, what were your thoughts going to the program when that took place?
Man, you know, I never actually really paid attention to it. You know what I mean? I was don't get me wrong. I was happy and grateful that they had us at #1. But you know, they have us at #1 of certain different things, like how many returners you have, how many guys you bringing in, and all that. At the end of the day, when they say play ball, you got to play. You know what I mean? So we didn't live up to it. To start the season off, we just got off to a slow start, and you can you can chalk that up to many different things. When you bring in a lot of junior college kids, man, it's just hard to get everybody on the same page for a short period of time. 45 days in the fall is not a long time to be able to try to get guys on the same page. These young kids, they have their own agenda, and trying to get their own agenda fit in with a coach's agenda, sometimes that don't work out, So it just took us
certainly
a little while.
Certainly not as quick as you would like.
Oh man, it ain't never as quick as coaches like it. You know what I mean? So, but we've been clicking on all cylinders for the past 2 weekends. So better late than never.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. What you're referencing is the fact that over the first 2 weeks, Prairie View University sits at the top of the division, 6-0, as they've swept their 2 opponents, one on the road, the last one at home. I actually got down there Saturday and saw the doubleheader before I actually went home, check on my parents in Waco. I didn't get a chance to stay over and shake hands and say congratulations. But even better yet, we got you on the show. So let me go to Charles and let him ask a follow-up question.
Okay. Rick, you referenced the beginning of the season. You played in both the Houston Astros Classic and the Andre Dawson Classic. But I wanted to ask, how did the opening of the year in playing tough competition in both of those classics kind of prepare you for where you are right now in the season? 6-0, 2 sweeps to start the season off.
Oh man, it did, because when we're playing in an atmosphere like that, man, everybody want to win. So the kids coming out there ready to play. We got a chance to see a little of everything in the first 2 weeks. Almost like we've been playing, mid-year, you know what I mean? So it was mid-season form in the first 2 weeks, you know what I mean? So it gave us a lot of things to look for and to plan, some things that we had to work on to get our bullpen in order. We was in a lot of those games, and then when we went to the bullpen, we just couldn't hold it up, right? And so I was telling the guys that, when you're hitting, pitching is easy. But when you're not, when the pitchers got to think they got to go out there and do it by themselves, that's tough. You know what I mean? So, a good thing about it, the past two weekends, we've been able to hit and put some runs on the board, and the bullpen has been able to keep the league. So it's working for us right now. You just got to keep it up.
No doubt, no doubt.
80, Drew, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to let you know, Coach, the Black College Sports Network has you currently ranked at number 5, and a lot of that is primarily based upon that 6-0 conference start that you guys have.
Okay.
But I kind of want to follow up on Charles with your schedule. But I want to kind of talk about your scheduling model for your non-conference and your midweek games. We see some coaches, some teams go and load up against Division II NAIAs for those midweeks and those early season conference games. But outside of the classes that you played against the HBCUs, which are Division Ones, you've got a lot of other Division Ones on your schedule. So my question is, how do you determine how to make up your schedule? How to go with primarily Division I schedule, or to mix and match with some Division II and some NAIAs? How do you go about figuring that out every year, how you want to make your non-conference schedule and your midweek schedule out?
Well, if I could, I would play all Division I schedule. But unfortunately, here in Texas, we got so many D1 schools, and sometimes the scheduling doesn't work out. And so what I do, if it doesn't work out, and then that's when I reach out to Division II, the NAIAs, to try to get those games. The more competition we play early going into conference, the better it is for me, right? It let the kids know that, hey, just because you're at an HBCU doesn't mean you can't compete against PWIs, right? And that's the goal. Because if I can win those midweek games, I should be able to compete in the weekends. And that's my goal for whenever I fill out my schedule.
I like it. Coach, let me follow up and ask you about some of your players that are playing really well right now. And some of those players that may have started slow, but you anticipate as the season gets going that they'll light it up as well, either at the plate or on the mound.
Right now, man, it's pretty much everybody is doing what I need them to do to be successful. A lot of kids think they got to come in, hit home runs, and get hits and do all that. No, I'm a small things person. So if you come in, you get guys over, you bunt, you sacrifice, you're doing all the small things to give us a chance to win, then we're going to win. I'm not big on swings and misses. I hate striking out with runs in scoring position. They're just a missed opportunity. So right now, the team is actually doing well with that. It's just not no one person. Of course, it is some guys that, that wasn't doing well at the beginning of the season, and all of a sudden they're doing well. You can go with Weiss. You can go with, just basically just playing baseball. Like if you learn to play the game and respect the game and play the game, what your goals are will be there at the end. But at the end of the day, you got to be team first, right? When it's team first, if you plan on hitting 300, that was your goal. Then at the end of the year, you'll be hitting 320.
Nice,
right? So that's what I try to focus on with these kids. Like I said, sometimes it takes a little longer than others. But when you're doing that, then the lineup have a chance to be successful. And that's what's happening right now. And so that's why you see a lot of guys that was hitting 220, 230. All of a sudden now they 300 or 280. And that's what it takes, right? Sometimes they have to see that before they become their focus, right? And fortunately for us, it happened before the conference. And so once conference started, it started to work. Like, I think it was the last two midweek games. It was the last two non-conference game going into conference where we have
Hmm.
we end up losing those games either in the bottom of the ninth or they just beat us. Like McNeese, I think on that Sunday at McNeese they end up walking it off on us. And I think someone, I can't remember.
You had to call the word that Tuesday before you opened up conference.
Okay, and then so it was McNeese that walked off on us the weekend before in the bottom of the ninth that we played real well, and then the Carter Ward end up beating us in the bottom of the or in the top of the ninth where we played real well, and they just made one or two plays more than us. But going into the conference, we just kept it on going, and those are the things that I want for my team, going in the competition, to show them, hey, that you can play at any level. Doesn't matter who you're playing. As long as you come and do what you have to do, give yourself a chance to win, then you got a chance to win.
Go ahead, Charles. I know you want to follow up.
Yeah, quick follow up, and you kind of referenced it in terms of there's a lot of turnover in college baseball. At what point does the gelling of this team kind of come together, and kind of, you mentioned, kind of the light bulb goes off and things start to click when you start winning those close ball games?
When kids stop being selfish, right, and start giving themselves up for the team. Like my motto with my team is, when somebody get on base, them at bats are not yours no more. They're the team at bats. Right, and so from that standpoint, you're gonna win. You don't have to have the batting average at the end of the day when I know that you're giving yourself up for the team. You could be hitting 220 and you're in the lineup because I know what you're going to bring to the table every day, right? And so when they understand that, when they really actually see that, now they go, okay, well, as long as I'm doing what I need to do, then I know I'm going to be in there, right? And you have to tell them, too, that it's going to be somebody different every day. It can't be the same guy, right? Today it's going to be, say, Weiss, then the next day it got to be Rhett. It got to be somebody else that's going to give us that's going to do something that give us a chance to win, right? I only want y'all to do one thing to give your team a chance to win when you're in the lineup. That's all I can ask for. Everything else is yours, right? And so if we're doing that, then we got a good chance to win.
Sure.
Coach, final question I have for you is rivalry weekend, heading over to Texas Southern and Houston. Talk a little bit about playing in the rivalry yourself over the year, but now even more importantly, coaching it. What makes it so special, the playing, particularly for your kids, to playing games like this against what everybody denotes as your rival, in-state rival, if you would?
Yeah, I think that, this generation don't really truly understand what this rivalry means. You know what I mean? Back when I was playing, man, it's a dog battle, regardless of how good Prairie View was or how good we was. They always played us great, right? It was never a doubt in their mind that they wasn't going to beat us, right? So now it's just, kids look at it, hey, it's just another game. No, it is just another game, but it's our rival. They don't know how big this is for the alumni. You know what I mean? Because alumni be on social media talking big money. Big money stuff, right? So,
to say the least,
and probably haven't even seen the game all year, So, and it doesn't matter. So no, it's always good to play my alumni. Of course, I want to win, but I always look at it just another game, because if I look at it anything different, then I'm gonna start doing stuff that's out of character for me, and so I can't do that, because if I do that, then I'm not being truthful to my kids, and I'm not giving my kids a chance to win as well. So I just look at it as another game. Of course, I want to win. It's always a dogfight when we play them. We played them at the beginning of the season. They got some good arms. They got some good bats. We just got to go in and do what we need to do and control what we can control. And at the end of the game, have an opportunity to win it.
Yeah, it was nice to see y'all under the lights this Saturday in regards to the Cactus Jack Classic there. A lot of fans came out. It was cold, but folks showed up and showed out. So that gives you some indication, and maybe the players get a better understanding after they seeing the fans and alumni come out there and
Yeah,
probably tell them a little bit. But I
I
agree
think that
with
was
you. It can be a little different these days.
I think that was perfect for both of the universities. Not only that, but for
Great point.
HBCU schools all together to be able to see that and see it on TV, see it in the spotlight, see the fans go crazy, see all the passion and the love that these kids and fans have for their school. Man, that was perfect. It was perfect. Unfortunately, that we was on the wrong end of it. But at the end of the day, I don't. We lost, but I think we won the battle when it comes to Black college baseball, though.
No doubt.
No doubt. Well said. Coach, appreciate your time. I know you got to get back to it. A lot of things going on, but look forward to the matchups this weekend and the rest of the season. You're doing great work down there at Prairie View. Great start to the season. Look forward to continue to see good baseball. Down on the hill, make sure I get a chance to talk with you. And we'll follow up throughout the season as things get going. So again, go Panthers. Thank you, Coach.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me.
See you this weekend, Coach.
All right, man. Y'all take it easy.
We'll take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side, talk a little bit more about baseball. That's Coach Riggins of the Prairie View A&M Panthers, as he is 6-0 to start the season. Stick-With will be right back after this break.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KeaversVoice.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
This is Brian Fulford. A.D. Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
T. Madden & Associates is a sophisticated and experienced law firm located in your neighborhood. We're turning injury to cash.
T. Madden and Associates obtained almost $2 million for my injury. They turned my injury to cash.
Now, we can't guarantee how much your injury is worth, but we've recovered millions for our clients.
Call T. Madden & Associates at 833-PAID-123. That's 833-PAID-123.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
You're looking for the
Press the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna loud, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Professor Charles Bishop and Professor A.D. Drew. Let's get in here and talk a little bit more in regards to what's going on. We might even sneak in some softball a little bit. Let me give a shout out for Wendy Jenkins Bishop jumping in here. Lennon Blow is in there. Carol Keelan, Emma Price jumping in here. Brandon King representing Tennessee State checking in. I see you, Tennessee State. We gotta go get some baseball, man. We can't even talk baseball about Tennessee State. We gotta they do have softball. They doing pretty well in softball. With that being said, as we get into it, I heard there's some good softball played at the Division II level. A.D. Drew, what do you know about that? Give me an update. Softball. Who's playing the best softball at the Division II level, in your opinion?
Well, I don't know about my opinion, Dr. Cavil, but according to the BCSN computers, the best team in softball right now is Edward Waters under first-year head coach Billy Rogers, who's a former assistant there. And Edward Waters, don't remember how long he was there as a assistant, but now he's taking over the reins. He has the title of interim. I'm pretty sure when your team gets off to a 24-4 start, 10-2 in the conference, that interim title is probably going to be removed maybe before the end of the season. I'm just saying.
He had over 20 wins already. What was the say that again?
24-4. 24-4. As of Sunday.
That's pretty nice.
What's
Charles,
been the key to
when you get over 20 plus victories this early in the season,
10-2 in conference.
Well,
so they got beaten up on just cupcakes.
Well, the question for me it becomes what has been the key to their success? How have they jumped out to this record?
From what I've been able to ascertain, it's and I saw a couple of interviews from some TV stations in Jacksonville. It's the chemistry that these girls have built together. They have on the field. They've got the pitching is top notch in the SIAC. I mean, they got much better records. And then when you flip over to the other half of the SIAC, you got Lane sitting at 21-3 with a 5-1 record. They sit currently number 4 in the BCSN rankings. But when you think about the traditional softball powers, you know, it's been Tuskegee and Miles for years, along with Spring Hill in the West. So now you've got a player such as Lane coming up into the mix. So, and SIAC, unless they've changed their format for softball, they do 4-4. So think about it.
Has that recruiting? Has that recruiting? Has that recruiting talent? I mean, is it dispersed pretty evenly throughout the SIAC?
Yeah, well, the Alabama schools tend to do good for some reason. Like I say, Tuskegee, Spring Hill, and Miles are always in the mix in the West. So, and you know, they're pulling a lot of the same players for those 3 institutions. Okay. So, and if you look at the history of the SIAC over the last few years, one of those 3 teams, if not 2 of those 3 teams, have been in the championship game over the last 5 years. If you remember back in the 2010s, Tuskegee won 3 in a row from 14 to 16, and then won again in like maybe pre-pandemic. You know, they were in the fight. They won it again last year. Spring Hill has won theirs. In between that, Miles has been in the mix. So the power has been in the West in softball for the SIAC. Now, can this new player, Edward Waters, shift that power to the East?
Ooh, great question. Got some softball talking at the Division II level. Well, y'all some bad brothers.
Coming straight from the circle.
Update in terms of softball. Exactly. Let me give you some updates softball at the Division I level for the SWAC at least. I'm only going to give the team to have a winning conference record. That is in the West. That would be Grambling at 6-3.
Number 2 BCSN.
They won. Nice. Prairie View A&M is undefeated at 9-0. They've won 6 straight. Number 3 in the Black College Sports Network. Let's get into the East and see if any of these teams are in your ranking, Drew. Florida A&M, 5-4 in terms of the conference record. Tied with Alabama A&M at 5-4 as well. Bethune-Cookman is just 1 game above them at 6-3. Then holding on at 7-2 is Alabama State. Are any of those 4 in your ranking?
Number 4, Alabama State. Florida A&M and Alabama A&M are in the hunt. Bethune-Cookman picked up a couple of wins after our cutoff, so I expect to see them next week in the ranking.
Good stuff. MEAC in terms of softball, as we drive into this real deep and heavy. You have any of the MEAC teams have they made your top 5 rankings, or are they just receiving votes?
Oh, in MEAC softball, the number 1 team is from the MEAC. That would be Morgan State. With 50, at the time of the ranking, they were 15-11, 6-0 in conference.
I like it. I like it in terms of what they're doing. Morgan State pitching pretty well, just 1.5 ERA in terms of what they're getting done. So that makes sense in terms of where you see them in the ranking. Love it when we make sure we get around to it. Let me give you some standings over there. Obviously, 8 teams, so you got all 8. Again, I'll give you the teams with the winning record. That would be only 2. Both of them are undefeated, though. North Carolina Central sits at 5-0. And you just heard about Morgan State as at 6-0, as they continue to get it done and have a winning overall record of 15-12, which is a lot of reasons why you can see them at the top of the poll. Let's get in here and switch it up a little bit and talk about Division II baseball in the SIC. We told you it was a 2-team race in terms of the HBCU programs, but it looks like Albany State has kind of stretched it out a little bit as they sit at 16-1. Savannah State is still behind them, full 3 games back at 12-4. They're tied with Spring Hill, that is in there with SIAC, Historically White College there, but in the conference. And if you want to go back a little bit, you can get with Miles at 11-6, as well as Morehouse at 11-9. If you would, Drew, talk about those top 2 teams, Albany State and Savannah State. What seems to give them the edge in terms of what they're getting done, particularly Albany State, as they seem to really be stretching it out at that 16-1 going down the stretch, back end of the conference play.
Albany State leads the conference by almost 2 runs in earned run average. That's why they're leading the conference. Also, they have the top fielding percentage in the SIAC. So when you have good pitching and you've got the top fielding percentage and your bats are number 2 in the conference, pretty
total team
successful formula. I would think so. So, and that's what they have. Savannah is right behind them, but like I say, it's almost a 2-run difference as far as your ERA between Albany State and Savannah State. Keep in mind, SIAC takes the top 8. There are no divisions in SIAC baseball. Softball still has divisions. Baseball is all inclusive. So when you think about the traditional East and West, you could have 5, possibly 6 teams from one side in the tournament. So just keep that in mind when you look at the SIAC.
Where did Albany State find these arms to be to almost have a 2-run or earned run average higher than everybody else, lower than everybody else, I should say?
Well, when you take a look at, I'm just looking at their roster. 90% of their roster is Georgia or Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So you know you got to sprinkle in from Alabama. I see one kid from Australia, and I think I saw one kid from Ohio. But everybody else is from, probably 50% of their of their roster is from the state of Georgia, and about another 25 to 30% comes from Florida, where we already know what kind of baseball talent you have in the state of Florida. Mm-hmm. And Georgia, especially when you get in the metro area, I mean, it's some talent in the metro area. You know, the further you get out of the Atlanta metro, the talent kind of diminishes. But if you get some, you can get some good talent in the Atlanta metro area when it comes to baseball.
Good stuff. Good updates. Let's take our next break. We'll come back on the other side with our second interview. And we'll talk about the other side of the rivalry with Texas Southern University. Stick with us. We'll be right back after this break.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Now, you can live in Texas and not have a good red meat blend. Texas Cowboy Dust is designed for steak and other red meats. It's out to be my most popular spice blend, made with onions, peppers, ground mushrooms, pink salt, and other spices. Texas Cowboy Dust also goes great with chicken, pork, vegetables, and adds a restaurant quality sheen to gravies and sauces.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
Vanilla smoked sea salt seasoning is for seafood. The tarragon and fennel bring out the natural sweetness in seafood. I also use it in rice dishes, on yams, asparagus, blueberry pancakes, and believe it or not, chocolate chip cookies. Vanilla smoked sea salt adds a salty and savory component to sweet dishes that create a symphony for the tongue.
The Cavil Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cavil.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell them mama hungry.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KEAVERSVOICE.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
T. Madden and Associates is a sophisticated and experienced law firm located in your neighborhood. We're turning injury to cash.
T. Madden and Associates obtained almost $2 million for my injury. They turned my injury to cash.
Now, we can't guarantee how much your injury is worth, but we've recovered millions for our clients.
Call T. Madden and Associates at 833-PAID-123. That's 833-PAID-123.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh,
I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
When you're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics, there's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Press the analytic data with this hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, yeah, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil inside the HBC Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Mike Washington is out on assignment. We have none other than AD Drew in the building. With that, we also had Texas Southern University head baseball coach Michael Robinson. How you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing great. How y'all doing?
Doing well, Coach. Doing well.
Coach, want to jump in here and talk a little bit about your baseball program in regards to what was it like to play in the classics to kind of kick things off? You like going into it to play some other HBCUs or the opposite where you tend to play teams outside of the HBCU segment to start of the season?
Yeah, well, actually it was a great event for us, very exciting. Anytime you have an opportunity to showcase your kids, your program, such as we had at the beginning of the season, opening season, it was a huge event for us. I would have liked for things to go a little bit better in the event, but it was really good for our kids. And I think that it's going to definitely help us with the recruitment and going forward because it's going to be here for a couple more years. So good for us, good that we had an opportunity to play in a major league ballpark because, of course, a lot of our young men won't get that opportunity to play in a major league ballpark, such as we had at Minute Maid. And then, all the events around it and stuff. It was more than just a baseball game. It was an event. Kids had a chance to see celebrities. We had some educational opportunities that we talked to our kids about their end game. And of course, that's what we're trying to do. We just trying to provide each and every opportunity that will present itself for our kids because we know that probably 1% of any kids that's involved with baseball is going to have an opportunity to play Major League Baseball. But there are other avenues that you could take. So I thought it was a great event. And I'm looking forward to for the next 2 years for us hosting it here in Houston.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a big deal. That Saturday night game under the lights between Prairie View, the rival, was really exciting to see how many people got involved. And it was cold out there, but you couldn't tell. Fans came out, celebrated. Big win by Texas Southern University coming from behind it done and jumping out of there. So a lot of excitement that you're able to get in that game. With that being said, my next question is, as you start off conference play, what things have you liked about your team and what things that you want to see them improve
on? Just our ability to score runs for sure. We definitely are a very explosive team. I don't think that we've shown yet what we're capable of doing. It's just a matter of us being more consistent. Our pitching has been good. We got it. A number one and a number two are actually two aces on the staff in Abraham DeLeon and Dom Martinez. They have been definitely consistent for us throughout the year. We just have to finish. We kind of, the strange thing is Abraham is pitching really well, but for some reason we can't win his games. His record doesn't show. But
right.
he's probably one of the best pitchers in the conference, but you wouldn't know it because it's just baseball is a funny game. This is a kid that I'm telling you, if I had to recruit him all over again, I would. And if you knew how hard he works and he's a big time team player. He's the one that's always getting energy on the bus and stuff. And lo and behold, we can't win his games. Example, I think we was up in Pine Bluff 4-0. And then we had the incident with JB getting kicked out the ball game. And it just seemed like it kind of snowballed us. And one thing happened after the other, and we got behind 5-4. And then we ended up winning that game, but he didn't get the win. And then, of course, the game the other night against Southern, we pulled him out in the 7th inning because we only needed 6 outs, and we ran into trouble in the 9th inning in the ball game that was 8-2, needing 2 outs, and we let that one slip away. So things that we need to work on is finishing. You know, right now we're going through growing pains. We got a lot of guys that's new to our program and new to the conference. And I don't care how many times you tell them, they have to go through it and see it for themselves. We definitely have educated them on the culture of the conference. Now, in terms of us building culture in our program, we're still working on it. We're still trying to find our identity, of course, but we're definitely an explosive team. On the Saturday ball game, actually Friday and Saturday against Southern, we dominated both of those nights. You know, we just, like I say, we ran into trouble in that 9th inning and we let that one get away. We come back Saturday and we dominated. We win the game 11-3, and Dom wasn't even at his best, not even close to his best, and he still dominated, you know, the strike zone against Southern. And Southern is a very tough team to handle because they're a contact hitting team. They're well-rounded, and they're very athletic. So we got some work to do in front of us in terms of our maturity. I think our maturation have to kick in. But in terms of our potential, we're very solid. We can come off the bench, and the strength there is very good. You know, we got a guy that can hit a double. We got a guy that can hit a single. We got a guy that can get a bunt. We got a guy that can, you know, steal a base. We got a defensive replacement. We haven't had that in the past year. So we have a well-rounded roster, and I'm looking forward to us at some point just really showing the potential that we have on our team.
Good stuff. Charles, go ahead and follow up with your question.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about the offense, Coach Robertson. Dalen Allen, he's batting .421, leads the SWAC in batting, only 13 strikeouts on the season to Roger Coffey. But talk about both of those players. Roger Coffey's batting .385. I'm always impressed when I watch those two guys in their at-bats, very disciplined, and they seem to protect the plate.
Yeah. So Adley is one of those kids that he's not going to get out his approach. I would say he has an advanced approach. And but quietly, you know, putting up some really good numbers. Honestly, he's probably the perfect 4-hole hitter for us. We started the season off with him with the mindset of him leading off, and I just, you know, I came to grip and I say he's not a leadoff hitter. He's the guy that we probably want to see hit in the middle of the order because we need somebody to drive in runs. So he's capable of hitting a lot of doubles. He's leading the team in doubles. He don't strike out basically because of his approach. You know, he has a really solid approach. He's a very smart hitter, very intelligent. Very few times will he get beat on his front side. And he'll hit foul pole to foul pole. He's just one of the smartest hitters that I've had play for me in recent years. And then Roger Coffey, of course. You know, Coffey is an older kid. He's been in our program for 4 years, so he knows the competition in the SWAC. He knows the schedule that we play outside the SWAC. It's a big schedule. And so he's been involved in those big games before. So I think his experience is a huge factor. And he's been hitting the ball really well for us. You know, every now and then he'll kind of, you know, make my hair stand up on my head when he get runners in scoring position, and you know, he may get outside of his approach, but boy, I tell you, he's putting together a pretty good season right now in terms of his slugging percentage. He's back to hitting the long ball, and he's not striking out as much as he did the last couple of years. So that's good to see. But we got some other guys. You know, we got Alex Alibo. He's having a tremendous year. He's leading the team. Excuse me. in RBIs and also slugging percentage.
Coach, I wanted to follow up really quick in terms of the balancing act, because you're starting to see a trend, especially in regards to Major League Baseball, where you have guys who would normally be your number 4 hitters, number 3 and 4 hitters, guys who drive in runs, but they're starting to kind of put them at the top of the lineup. And I'm curious, is it a bit of a balancing act in terms of guys who are just good at getting on base in terms of where to put them in the lineup? Do you want them driving in runs, or do you want them table setters?
Well, it's twofold. It depends on the level of potential on your roster. You know, it's been times where, and I'm losing my voice, but it's been times where we looked at our roster and we may want a doubles hitter at the top, and then we may want a single hitter in that 2 spot. So it just depends. Major League Baseball, during the steroid era, you notice. Let's take Ricky Weeks, for example, a player like Ricky Weeks, who is not a guy that's going to hit for average, but that's what's going to hit for a good slugging percentage. So they put him at the top of the order, and you've seen a lot of other teams do that. Well, hey, this guy's a 5'2" player. He has speed, but he has power also. Okay, so it just depends on, you know, what you're working with in terms of, and also how you're trying to score runs. So for Texas Southern, what we're doing with our setup is we've used a combination of guys at the top of our order, and then of course CJ Castillo, who's probably our best all-around player. You know, CJ is a good contact hitter. He can hit backside. He can hit and run. He's not going to strike out a lot. I think last year he had 45 walks against 21 strikeouts. So, you know, that's how we trying to score runs in terms of that. Because CJ is going to hit a lot of doubles. And then we got Vasquez hitting in the 3rd spot. Gabe, this year, not driving in a lot of runs, but I mean, Gabe is probably one of, you know, the other smartest hitter that I have in the lineup. And I really, you know, once he get going and Levo get going, they're going to be like thunder and lightning. But it's just to keep them on the other side of the field. And Levo has been doing really well for us this year because he's staying with his approach. He's on the other side of the field. And whereas Gabe has, you know, hit a couple of long balls out on the pull side. And so we're working hard to get him back on the other side of the field. But our lineup is explosive. I haven't even mentioned Makata. Makata is a tough strikeout, our second baseman. And he hadn't even really got going yet, but I think Makata has like 21 RBIs as well. So
yeah,
it's really nobody to pitch to until you probably get to our 8th, 9th hitter. Those 1 through 7. Coffee hits, Coffee protects Makata, Makata protects Olivo, Olivo protects Adderley, and Adderley protects Vasquez. So, you know, it's going to be really fun to watch us hit, especially at McGregor Park. If you was at the game on Saturday, you would have gotten a glimpse of what we're capable of doing, because we actually hit 6 home runs on our home field on Saturday. They took one of them back against the kid, Rob Adderley. That would have been Adderley's 2nd home runs, but that's something that we haven't did in a long time on our home field. You know, usually, you know, we're relying on speed and West Coast offensive stuff, but this time around, we got a lot of guys that can hit a lot of doubles and hit the ball out the ballpark at McGregor Park. And McGregor Park is a hitter's paradise. So change things up in the way that we did the recruitment. And you know, we were kind of tired of, you know, bigger teams, teams with bigger swings than us come in and out hit us on our home field. So we capable of matching that and going beyond with the lineup that we have right now. Like I say, we just have to get more consistent.
Good stuff, Coach.
AD Drew, let me let you follow up. I know you wanted to get into some of the scheduling Coach Robinson was talking about. But go ahead, Drew.
Yeah, Coach Robinson. Why don't you kind of take us behind the scenes and give us the secret to the gumbo as far as when you put the schedule together? You know, you see some people go out, they have a bunch of tough non-conference games, and then they go with some quote unquote easier teams doing their midweek games as they get into the conference season. You see some who go with all Division I, some who sprinkle in more Division IIs and NAIAs. So when you are putting your schedule together, what are some of the things you consider when putting your schedule together, and how has the way you put your schedule together for this particular year helped you out going into conference?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, to be honest with you, and Dr. Cavil knew it, I probably complained just as loud as anybody about some things that at our home field that I probably didn't think was in the favor of our ball club. Probably about, I want to say maybe 8 years ago. It was very difficult to work against some of the adversities that we were dealing with. And so lo and behold, I guess God just spoke to me one day and said, you know what, you got to start playing games on the road. And it worked out for us because we needed some revenue as well. So what we started doing about 8 years ago, and I want to say for about a period of 5 or 6 years, we had the highest RPI of any HBCU program. We played a really big schedule. Yeah. And so it worked out for us because it's something that we promised the kids anyway, that you were playing some of the best confines against the best competition and giving you the opportunity to showcase your talent against some bigger ball clubs and also our program. So that was one of the reasons why we dominated. I'll tell you, from 15 to 18, when we played in 4 straight championships and won 3 of those 4 years, it was because we was battle tested. If you look at those years, we played a very grueling road schedule. We were road warriors, much like the basketball team at Texas Southern. I think if we had 50 games on the schedule, we played 36 ball games on the road. So the only games we were really playing at home were the conference games. And so we took that into consideration. But of course, we had those alphas on the bus. We had some dogs on the bus during those years, some kids that we was able to bring in at the same time, which was our core group. And it worked out well for us. Dealing with this year a little bit different. I wanted to give our kids an opportunity to get some confidence. So if you look at our schedule this year, it's more balanced. We playing more home games than we played in probably the last 8 years or so. And the schedule have been watered down a little bit, because we brought in so many young kids that we're still trying to develop. And I wanted them to have an opportunity to get some playing time their first time around so we can develop them. You can't develop anybody on the bench. You got to put them on the field and, put them in the fire. So that was my mindset in trying to build this schedule for this year. But next year, I already know we got to get back to that really grueling schedule, because the only thing that's important for us is the postseason. We're just trying, everything is a byproduct to get them ready for the postseason. And of course, during those years, that's what we really got going in the postseason. And a lot of it was because of playing that really competitive schedule. Our kids were battle tested.
Mm-hmm. Last question I have for you, Coach, is talk a little bit about the rivalry game. You've literally been on both sides of this. Obviously, playing Houston Tillerson, you had your own rivalries in terms of HBCUs. But then now you have the Prairie View, Texas Southern. And as I said, you've been on both sides, won championships at Prairie View, now won championships at Texas Southern. What makes this rivalry so special, in your opinion? And what do you talk to your kids about so they'll understand the importance of it?
Well, believe it or not, it's not a lot of conversation that I have to have with them because of the rivalry. That's the one time, besides on Scout Day, I really don't have to talk to them a lot because they know what's involved. So really, it's the throwdown. I call it the throwdown. It's to take over Houston. Of course, you mentioned I was on the other side too. So when I was at Prairie View, all I used to tell them is, hey, we're going to take over Houston. We're going to take over McGregor Park. So in the back of my mind, I know they saying the same thing.
That's the coach I know.
So I'll be telling my kids, they coming down here, I know why they coming to Houston.
I gotta let you get into it. I don't think people understand that's the coach that I know in regards to gets me fired up. I'll be on the bus. I think I'm gonna get out there and give me a hit. Then be like, hold on. Go ahead, coach. Sorry about that.
Right.
I had to get
But
that
now
in there. You got me fired up.
It's the throwdown. It's the throwdown. It's the, to see who take over Houston. That's the biggest rivalry. And you're gonna see some good baseball because Prairie View is up and coming. We dominated them for, I want to say, maybe about 5 years, up until last year. I think we split the series with them. And then, of course, during the after COVID season, they won the Western Division, which is very difficult to do. So this is going to be a really good rivalry match. You saw an indication of what both teams can do at the Classic. And this weekend is going to be a big weekend for us. I'm looking for some really good baseball playing. They starting pitching is good. Our starting pitching is solid. We got some big swings, and I think they're a smaller hitting team than we are, but they hit real. They'll take the ball the other way. They're very strappy. They infield. They're seasoned guys. The guys that's been there last year. The infield won't change for them. So they're good fielding infield. They will make their routine plays and stuff. I think we got a little bit more in our pen. We've got more versatility than they do right now in the pen, and I think they may have hurt. Had a couple guys that may be on the DL on their pitching staff. So, but still, it's going to be competitive. It don't even matter when we play each other. It's just a matter of who won it the most.
I love it, Coach. Well, I know you have a busy schedule, and we got you so excited. We got you a little bit coughing there, so we want to make sure you get your voice and save it for this weekend, because we don't want to have no excuses from this side where you say, well, I talked inside the HBCU and I lost my voice. I couldn't call out no play. We don't want to be a part of that. So, Coach, appreciate you time and everything you've done for my son in regards to talking to him. He loves the bag. He actually refused to take his other bag. Now he takes that bag to school. That's his bag. He's playing baseball. And so he can't wait to get out there and check out these games. So I want to say personally, thank you for that, Coach, and what you've done for baseball in this city. Obviously going back to high school, Prairie View, in Texas Southern. A lot of folks would see the teams that would come in to this area to see baseball. Obviously, you had the championship runs with Coach Candy Robinson in terms of what he's able to do, but regular teams that are in the hunt, you've changed it in a lot of ways for the SWAC in general, but even more important for SWAC in Texas in terms of HBCU baseball. So I want to say appreciate that. I didn't have a chance to really tell you that. I sneaked in and I want your head to get too big, but I wanted the world to know that I appreciate what you've done. So keep up the great work. With that being said, go Tigers, and thank you for your time, Coach Robert.
Absolutely. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Coach.
Look, okay, thank y'all.
This is Dr. Cavil inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Excited to have those two coaches on as they lead their program. We got some good baseball going on in SWAC. So if you get a chance, get out there this weekend. No better place to be McGregor Park. I know you finish up with some basketball, but it's time to get out there to ping at the bat. So get out there and see some baseball. If you can, see some softball. You talking about really exciting softball that's being played in this area, particularly with the women. They get into it. And they will entertain you, not only in terms of their performance on the field at the plate or in the field on the mound, but they're also going to entertain you from the dugout in regards to making sure you're involved in it. You've seen some of the videos. If you think the videos are good, go out there and check it out. And so no matter where you are across this country, I know we get into football and that gets us louder going. Some of us are basketball heads on the hardwood. If you get a chance, you need to get out there, whether it's good, get out your house. Go see some baseball, go see some softball, particular HBCU programs in the area. That'll do it for us. Want to special say Charles Bishop, Eddie Drew, appreciate you taking out your time. Great questions and great information in terms of baseball. Nobody else is doing it quite like this. Obviously, make sure you check out Sunday with AD Drew and Brian, as they're going to give you monologue and in-depth stories in terms of what's going on at HBCU. They actually give you updates for the rankings as you send in terms of the polls, and they do it across the board at multiple levels. So tune in there and make sure you get your baseball updates. And they'll make sure you get your spring football as well and tell you what's going around the world in terms of HBCU sports. So check that out. Carlos on Saturday, Carlos Brown, make sure you get the in-depth. Obviously, they'll have some intriguing news as their name, their basketball coach. So check him out. I'm sure he'll give you some update if he doesn't have a coach on there. Drew, you wanted to add something real quick?
Yeah, I was just want to remind everybody, this upcoming Saturday, we'll be laying our brother Kofi Hemingway to rest. So if you do have an opportunity to go and donate to his family, I don't know if Roy has the graphic available, but please, if you can have time making those contributions, I believe that cash app tag is AK Hemingway. If I've got that correct, I believe Roy, you can jump on and correct me on that if I was wrong, but I believe it's AK Hemingway.
That is correct. That's money tag AK Hemingway. That's HEMMINGWAY. So you had it exactly right. AK Hemingway. And so support the family there and send Kofi off right. My understanding that the viewing will be streamed, so those that want to send them off the right way, you certainly can get that information. Thank you for sharing that, Adrian. Very important.
11:30 Eastern Time, Saturday morning, I believe is the service.
Yes, sir. Thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta, the Dean of HBCU Sports.
Doc, I'm sorry, I want to jump in. It's actually 11 a.m. Eastern, so that's going to be 10 a.m. Central.
Oh, thanks for that correction, Roy. 11 a.m.
No, 11 a.m. Eastern. I am Dr. Kenyatta, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, and A.D. Drew. Again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 o'clock CST. We look forward to next week as we discuss the latest news in the lab. Remember, on Wednesday, you can go and get the O&G Strike Zone. I checked them out last night. That interview they had with the cheerleader that went viral, that was entertaining. She is the real deal. And great job in terms of bringing that to the people. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil. That's DrKenyattacavil on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. That's DrKenyattacavil. Remind Brian, he could have put on the Prairie View. I know he was a little upset last week in terms of that. Shout out to the Prairie View and bowling team. He got all that great news about FAMU. He didn't tell who beat FAMU. Never mind. I should. That's not the name. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. DrKenyattacavil. That's Charles' fault. Charles Bishop is rubbing off on me. He's the one that got me acting bad. Inside the HBCU Sports will have one on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube is Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Dream big. We'll continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Charles?
Horse.
Drew?
Lecture.
Dismiss.
Mahalo.